Life in Orsk was shaped by the Ural River, a source of food, reflection, and comfort for generations. The river was more than just a body of water. It was a living thread that connected the city's past and present, a constant companion through every season. Its gentle flow mirrored the vast Orenburg skies, swelling each spring with melting snow. The river's surface shimmered with the promise of renewal, and its banks came alive as the world thawed from winter's grip. Children played on its banks, fishermen cast their lines, and the river was woven into the city's soul. It was a place for laughter, for quiet moments, and for the simple joys of daily life. The dam, built to protect Orsk, stood as a silent guardian, inspiring trust and a sense of security. Its presence reassured the people, a symbol of human ingenuity holding back the wildness of nature. People built their lives around the river, never imagining it could turn against them. Homes, parks, and memories clustered along its edge, as if the river's calm would last forever. In April 2024, the air was crisp with spring, and the annual thaw seemed routine. The city moved with a familiar rhythm, confident that nature would follow its usual course. But this year the melt was rapid, joined by relentless rain, a perfect storm gathering strength. The skies darkened, and the river's mood shifted, hinting at trouble ahead. The Ural swelled with urgency, its calm replaced by a rising, insistent murmur. The current grew stronger, swirling with debris and uncertainty, as if the river itself was restless. Water levels climbed higher and faster than anyone remembered, pressing against the dam with growing force. The city watched anxiously, hoping the barrier would hold as the pressure mounted. The city's familiar rhythm was broken, streets emptied, and a hush fell over Orsk as uncertainty crept in. The river's whispers became warnings. Its voice, once gentle, now carried a sense of urgency and fear. Orsk was about to face a disaster no one could ignore. The river that had always given life was now a force of nature demanding to be reckoned with. Elena, a dedicated history teacher, lived a quiet, steady life with her young son Misha in the heart of Orsk, a small city nestled by the river. Misha's imagination soared far beyond the city's borders, his dreams filled with distant planets and the mysteries of the universe. On April 5th, their morning unfolded like any other. Breakfast together, a walk to school, and excited talk of space adventures that colored their routine with hope. Misha's boundless curiosity connected his wildest dreams to the world around him, turning even the backyard into a launch pad for his imagination. The river, usually calm and familiar, was just background noise to their lives, a gentle presence, never a real threat. At school, Elena inspired her students with stories of world-changing events, quietly pushing aside her own unease about the dam and the rising water. Officials had declared everything safe, and most people wanted to believe them, clinging to the hope that nothing would change. But that afternoon, the rain intensified. Streets glistened under the downpour, and the river, once peaceful, now looked swollen and angry. Misha noticed the water creeping closer to their home, but Elena tried to reassure him, her voice gentle. "The dam will hold, don't worry." That night, the storm raged on. Misha drifted into dreams of galaxies and distant stars, while Elena lay awake, her anxiety growing with every rumble of thunder and the relentless sound of rain. By morning, the river's threat was no longer distant. Water crept into streets and neighborhoods, changing everything. Their peaceful routine was about to be shattered by the chaos of rising floodwaters and urgent warnings. The city's trust in its defenses, built over years, would soon be put to the ultimate test as neighbors rushed to reinforce barricades. For Elena and Misha, the flood was no longer a distant worry. It was suddenly, terrifyingly real, forcing them to leave behind the safety of home. The future they'd planned together now seemed to slip away with the rising water, leaving only uncertainty and the hope that they could weather the storm together. The dam, built in 2014, was flawed from the start. Money stolen, corners cut, warnings ignored. Inspections revealed cracks, erosion, and shoddy maintenance, but real repairs never happened. Official reports were buried, and the public remained unaware of the danger upstream. In April 2024, the Ural River rose to nearly double the dam's design limit. The pressure was relentless, exposing every hidden weakness. Just days before disaster, the mayor assured everyone, the threat of a breach is non-existent. Residents trusted their leaders, believing in the safety they'd been promised. But the river cared nothing for reassurances. Water found the dam's flaws, turning cracks into gaping fissures. The shield was about to fail. Orsk's safety was built on a lie. The catastrophe was now inevitable. On April 5th, the dam failed. Not with a snap, but a catastrophic collapse. A torrent of water exploded through the breach, roaring toward Orsk. Streets became rivers, homes vanished, and panic swept the city. Sirens blared, phones buzzed with evacuation orders, but for many, it was too late. Water rose by meters in hours, submerging cars and plunging neighborhoods into darkness. Elena and Misha awoke to chaos, shouts, sirens, and water climbing their apartment steps. Elena grabbed essentials and rushed Misha up the crowded stairwell. The roar of water and cries of neighbors filled the air. They raced against the flood, desperate for higher ground. The life they knew was being washed away. On the roof they joined others, cold, terrified, and watching their world disappear. The flood was relentless, and survival was all that mattered. Elena's knowledge and plans were useless now. Only courage and hope remained. The deluge had changed everything in an instant. The rooftop was a fragile refuge, but fear and cold gripped everyone as the wind howled through the night. The city below was a dark, endless sea, and the only sounds were distant cries and the relentless rush of water. Misha clung to Elena, shivering, asking if they'd be okay, his small voice barely audible over the storm. She wrapped her arms around him and promised that help would come, even as uncertainty gnawed at her heart. Around them, neighbors huddled close, comforting each other, united by disaster and the hope that rescue would arrive soon. Hours dragged by in the cold until at last a rescue boat appeared, its lights cutting through the darkness, piloted by determined volunteers. The boat could only take a few at a time. The elderly and children were chosen first, their faces etched with exhaustion and relief. Elena and Misha climbed aboard, hearts heavy as they left behind the only home they'd ever known, uncertain if they'd ever return. The journey was perilous. Debris floated everywhere, the current was strong, and every moment felt like a test of fate. Volunteers navigated the watery maze, risking their lives for others, their courage shining in the darkness. To calm Misha, Elena told him to look at the sky, searching for comfort amid the chaos and uncertainty. The stars were hidden behind thick clouds, but hope flickered in their hearts, fragile yet persistent. They escaped the flood's grip, but ahead lay an uncertain future, filled with questions and fear. The city was unrecognizable, swallowed by water, its familiar streets and homes lost beneath the waves. Survival now depended on the kindness of strangers and the courage to keep going, even when hope seemed distant. The flood had stripped away everything but their will to endure, leaving only memories and the strength to rebuild. Orsk's people were now refugees in their own city, bound together by loss, resilience, and the hope of a new beginning. The rescue boat delivered Elena, Misha, and others to a crowded emergency shelter. The gym was filled with shock, grief, and uncertainty. Families separated, lives upended. Volunteers offered tea and bread, small kindnesses in a sea of despair. Elena comforted Misha, pushing down her own grief to stay strong for him. In the days that followed, the shelter became a fragile community. People shared stories, searched for loved ones, and tried to rebuild a sense of normalcy. Resources were scarce, rumors rampant, and official help felt slow. Elena helped care for children, finding purpose amid chaos. The people of Orsk were safe from the water, but lost in confusion and fear. They waited, hoping for answers and a path home. As shock faded, anger grew. Orsk's people felt betrayed by false assurances. The flood was not just a natural disaster, it was a failure of leadership and trust. On April 8th, hundreds protested outside the mayor's office, demanding answers and real help. "Shame!" they chanted, furious at the officials who had failed them. Government compensation was meager, nowhere near enough to rebuild lives. Many had rescued themselves, feeling abandoned by the official response. The protest was rare and powerful. a community demanding justice. Years of ignored warnings and broken promises fueled their rage. Orsk's people had lost everything but their voice. Their cries for accountability echoed through the ruined city. The Orsk flood was not just nature's fury, it was the result of human failure. Rapid snowmelt and heavy rain created a crisis, but the dam's flaws made it a catastrophe. Built with corruption and neglect, the dam was doomed from the start. Inspections revealed critical problems, but real repairs never came. The mayor's reassurances just days before the breach were tragically wrong. Early warnings and evacuations could have saved lives, but the system failed. Years of misplaced priorities left vital infrastructure to decay. The disaster exposed the deadly cost of neglect and dishonesty. Orsk's tragedy is a warning. Safety depends on vigilance, not empty promises. The flood washed away more than homes. It shattered the illusion of security. As the waters receded, Orsk faced the daunting task of rebuilding. Mud and debris covered everything, but the true challenge was restoring lives and trust. Residents, volunteers and soldiers worked together, learning the value of preparedness and community. Neighbours formed support networks, vowing never to rely solely on official assurances again. The flood's lesson was clear. Infrastructure is a sacred trust, not just concrete and steel. Climate change means more extreme weather. Old defences are no longer enough. Cities everywhere must invest in resilient infrastructure and early warning systems. Orsk's hope lies in its people, their resilience, courage, and determination to rebuild. Volunteers risked everything to save others, showing the power of solidarity. To prevent future tragedies, governments must prioritize safety, transparency, and accountability. The scars of the flood remain, but so do the lessons. Orsk's story is a warning and a call to action for us all.